Okay, so we learned about twist, and we learned about different tools. What if I want to actually go ahead and get the twist? So let's say I want to add a twist to this, and I went ahead and got the ridges of the screw. So let's say I want to go ahead and put that onto the twist. I'm going to go ahead and twist it. You can see it's starting to break up. That's because my cube doesn't have enough segments. So remember to add enough segments before or after the fact. So I'm adding some segments here to go ahead and get that screw-like nature. So let's say I'm done here. I like that. I rendered it. It looks fine. But now I want to go ahead and get it to a point. You know how the screw goes into one point. So now I can go ahead and take that and say, okay, what if I add a taper? So now I could go ahead and get taper, add the taper to the cube. Now I have another box, and I'm going to go ahead and use taper, and I can go ahead and use the top to taper. Isn't that cool? So now you got yourself, if we go ahead and render this, that it starts to look sharp. And you can sharpen it as much as you want. So you can actually have that go all the way. And I can add more the twist. I can add more twists. So you can see now it looks something like that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. So that would have been harder to get into a point and do all these things, but in Cinema 4D, we really have these cool tools so you can go ahead and get the shapes that you're looking for with taper. So taper tapers things off. Of course, you can give it as many segments as you want. Another example of taper, if I just go ahead and let's start a new one. Close, don't save. So you can combine again. I can taper anything at all. I can taper that head if I wanted to. Pick one. And I can sharpen that if I want to. Or I can go ahead. Let's see what that looks like if we would taper the head. I would take that, put it there. Scale that. Scale it down. So you can use these tools, multiple tools, to kind of get different types of heads as you want. Okay. All right. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and take the head and get taper to go inside the head. So now I can go ahead and taper it bigger or taper it smaller. So it does almost the same thing, but even better. It's definitely better for things like you want to taper off to make them sharper, or you want to expand them. You can actually get a sphere, file new, or a cube or a sphere, and let's put that in there, see what that gives us. So you can get like a teardrop, or you can taper it out to get this shape. Or rocks, drums, anything around, you could do it right away. Diamond shapes, coconuts, anything at all. And look how easy it is. It's so easy. And let's say you're not sure what do you want. Maybe you still want to work around with it. Fine. Then just select it. Current state to object. So it gives you another object. Move that new sphere. See, it gives you a surface by itself that's free and fresh of anything. Then you could go back to the taper and keep playing with it as you go along. You want to do something like that. You want to do something like this. Anything at all. You want to taper the bottom, taper the top. Anything at all. Let's say that. You want to turn it into a rock like you said. Again, you can go ahead, select the sphere, current state to object, and now you have that shape. have that shape. So whenever you build something, whether it's made out of multiple objects or one object, all of these things you can taper them together, as we just saw here with the robot, not this disco robot, but that robot. You can see that it adjusts everything, the ears, the eyes, it tapers everything, so you can have everything in a group get affected and not just one thing, and that's what's really cool about the tool. Any questions about this? Okay, so I want you to go ahead. Next is to make sure that you're using bulge and twist and whenever you want, but try shear and taper because they're really, really helpful to go ahead and get all the other shapes that you need.